The newly hatched baby pterosaur tried to stand up but clumsily fell over. Although it looked tiny now, in a few years it would grow into a sky giant with a 9-meter wingspan. It would be powerful enough to challenge a Tyrannosaurus rex. Unfortunately, this island was extremely barren and food was scarce. The newborn pterosaur, only a few hours old, had to find its own way. Flying away was its only option. It began its first flight. Though flying was an innate skill, it still crashed hard onto the ground on landing. To become proficient in flight, the baby pterosaur would need a lot of practice. The goal wasn't very high, just to fly across the swamp to reach the forest on the other side. That alone would count as a success. There were many other newly hatched pterosaurs on the island. All of them had to cross this swamp. Today, the wind speed and direction were just right. One baby pterosaur could no longer resist. It pushed off with its legs and successfully took off. At first, its flight was relatively stable, but soon it began to lose altitude due to lack of strength and eventually fell into the water. Fortunately, it was a decent swimmer and quickly paddled toward the shore. Suddenly, a massive crocodile snapped it up and dragged it underwater. These crocodiles were fearsome predators in the lake. Falling into the water was a death sentence. Still, the young pterosaur tried to take off again. It felt no fear because staying on the island was equally deadly. Only by reaching the forest across the swamp could it survive. However, this pterosaur flew too low and was suddenly grabbed by a crocodile. Some pterosaurs, though, performed very well. They successfully flew across the lake and landed safely in the forest. But it was no longer entirely safe there, as the crocodiles had tasted them. Soon, the predators would come ashore to hunt. Any pterosaur that let its guard down would be killed. In desperation, the pterosaurs flapped furiously into the sky. One tried to give everything it had to reach the forest in a single flight. Soon, exhaustion took over and it fell into the water. Luckily, it was close to the shore. The baby pterosaur paddled desperately toward land, with crocodiles closing in beneath the surface. A single mistake could mean being snapped up. Even after it struggled onto the shore, its strength was nearly gone. The crocodiles were still in pursuit. The baby pterosaur panicked, but fortunately the crocodiles couldn't fly. In the end, the baby pterosaur survived. Once it reached the forest, it would reap great rewards. There was enough food there to let it grow and eventually become the ruler of the skies.